Okay guys, this is just a quick tutorial on how to set up an advanced recovery partition on your hard drive. It makes backup and recoveries quite easy. You can either press F key, a function key, like I usually set F12 at boot, and it invokes advanced recovery and reinstalls Windows OS in a matter of minutes. Usually around 7 to 10 minutes depending on your system. Or you can go into the start menu, usually in Windows search you can type recovery and you can invoke advanced recovery through here. Okay, so let's get started. I'll try and cover as much information as I can. There's a lot of information I can't show you due to not having a video camera. So basically all I can do is provide the best information, and hopefully you should be able to work it out. Also I'll link quite a lot of information, tools and other videos in order for you to get the fairest idea of how to do this. Okay, first you're going to need to set up your environment. So you're going to need a USB stick or an external hard drive. For USB sticks, you can use an 8 gig stick, but 16 or higher is optimal. For hard drives, basically if you got a hard drive but it's got stuff on it, create another partition on it for the purpose of setting up your advanced recovery. Okay, let's get into this. First you're going to need Windows pre-install environment disks, commonly known as a Windows PE disk. I'll post them in the description. Both have got ImageX support integrated into them. I'll also post Windows 7 Toolkit. I'll explain this a little bit more shortly. You'll need to set up your external drive with the following scripts I'll post, and I'll show you how to set this up. For boot keys, I'll post the scan codes for boot keys, so you can set whatever functions you want, whether you want to use F12 or F11. Do note some function keys you can't set due to them being used by the system, like advanced boot options, BIOS key, etc., etc. But I'll post that too. Okay, so best thing to do is get your DVD, Windows DVD, or download the latest DVD from Microsoft with the latest updates, or some people go to torrent sites and get the latest updated ISOs. I've just downloaded this one for the purpose of the tutorial. So basically, first off, what you can do is you go in the sources folder and you're going to locate the install WIM. Once you've got the install WIM, just copy the install WIM, and you're going to go into toolkits. You're going to paste the install WIM there. Now what you're going to do is, depending on how you set it up, whether you're WinPro, Home, Basic, Ultimate, it's best to remove all other images and just leave the image that you want. That way that it doesn't accidentally, when you're installing, doesn't put Home Basic on when you want it Ultimate. You can customize the WIM files with programs, applications, updates, unattended installs. So basically you can really personalize the install WIM. This is Win 7 Toolkit. It'll be posted in the description. So what we're going to do, forgive the sounds. What we're going to do is, this is I think one of the later versions. We're going to go to Main, Intermediate, WIM Manager. We're going to browse for the WIM file. I'm going to select the install.wim file, and as you can see, we got all the images. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this, because I use Ultimate. But you'll select what one you want. and you click delete images. Are you sure you want to permanently delete selected images? Yes. Delete them, and then you click, very important, you must click rebuild image. It'll take a little bit to mount and then rebuild. Once it's done, it's done. And you can close, and you can close. Now with the WIM file, once you've done that, you can copy that onto your external drive. That's a 64-bit install WIM. So I just forgot what the name is going to be. Copy. So it's best to have it named so you know that it's 64-bit WIM file, and you can do the same for a 32-bit. So what I'll do is I'll delete that WIM. I'll quickly grab another copy, and I'll make a 32-bit WIM. Just let that copy over. This tutorial will probably be in a few parts. Okay, now that's copied, go back to the intermediate tab, WIM Manager, and I'll select Ultimate x86. I'll delete the other images, yes, and then I'll rebuild the WIM. Rebuild image. Okay, you can close that. Then you can just copy that. You can close that now. You paste that. It'll be important for you to keep the all the names set up. That way you don't have any conflicts when you go to run the script. For boot keys, you just change that number at the end. I'll explain the scripts a bit more shortly. Okay, now that you've set up your WIM files, and some people would have personalized them, we're going to look at the next steps. Okay, so you've got this on your USB stick or external. What you're going to want to do is you want to download, you'll want to burn the ISO 64 for 64, x86 for x86. x86 does work sometimes for 64-bit install, but sometimes can have errors, so it's best to use 64-bit. Once you've burnt that, it's to a disk, it's bootable. Make sure you've backed up all files. If you have a card reader, sometimes you might have issues. You might have to just disconnect that for the purpose of setting up the recovery partition. Also, other hard drives, you'll have to disconnect them just in case you get conflicts. So once you've done all that, you'll stick in the PE disk, whether it's the AMD 64 or x86, and it'll boot up, and you'll be faced with a command prompt window. So what you want to do is you want to prepare the hard drive. Being that you'll only have one hard drive there, you'll want to type disk part, so disk part, and it'll load up disk part. Then you type select disk 0. Oh, well, it'd probably be best to list disks, so you'd type list disk, and it'll show you a list of all connected drives. Disk 0 would probably be your main hard drives. Most cases it is. You'd select the disk by typing select disk, hit enter, then you type clean. Clean's a very dangerous command. It just basically wipes the whole drive, so be careful. Then you type create partition primary. and then you type active, enters in between these, and then you'll assign the letter C to the hard drive, and then you can do a quick format NTFS file system, or you can do a full format, but it will take some time being big drives. You'd just remove the quick, and then you'd exit this part. Once you've exited that, you then insert your USB stick or external hard drive. Then you'll type, I'll just show an example. You'll type F, like depending on what key it'll set for the drive. Most common is F, so you'd type that in and you'd hit enter, or C, you can't use C, sorry. As long as the drive you stick in is not C, you won't have that error, an error from it. So D, hit enter. If it comes up a little blinking, shows the disk is there, and then you type dir. That'll just list all the information in that directory. Hopefully you should see your scripts and your WIMs, so then you know you're in the right path. Then once you're in that path on your custom drive with your WIMs and your scripts, you then type, well, if you're a x86 system or x32 system, for x86 you'd type win7x64.cmd and you'd hit enter, and it'll process through the script. It'll clean your hard drive, it'll do a quick partial format, it'll then create all the partitions, and then it'll copy the image over, and then it'll decompress the image, and when it's finished it'll ask you to remove your PE disks, and then it'll shut down the computer. Then you remove your external drive, and then when you start up, it will go through the Windows install process, where it'll set up system registry, where you select your language, keyboard type, whether you enter in your serial key for Windows, etc., etc., and your PC name. Okay, I'm going to explain these scripts and how they work. So I'll start with this. Okay, so when this script's run, it's going to call dispart, and it's going to run the information from the text file. It's then going to use ImageX to apply the WIM to C drive. It's going to create your BCD boot store, and it's going to make your directory for your recovery section. It's going to copy over the WIM. It's going to rename and copy over the WIM to the recovery partition, which will be R, and then it does reagent C command, which sets up your boot key as well as registers it through the Windows boot partition and boot store, and then it'll finish. For the dispart, runs this one first, which creates your partitions. It hides the recovery partition so you can't accidentally enter it and delete things from it. It creates a system partition of 100 megabytes. Your recovery partition, that there's set to 10 gigabytes, depending on your ISO. That's pretty much optimum. You might need to increase that for bigger ISOs, and it's going to give labels, recovery system labels, etc. I'm just going to have to stop and start up a new video due to being 15 minutes. Okay, back in a sec.